tell me the prompts. Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, your host, and I want to walk you to the live broadcast about how to fight CPS and get back your children. Now, we're very fortunate to have a guest this evening. Her name is Heather. She's from Lincoln, Nebraska, and she'll talk in a few minutes about her CPS case. Now, the ones that just have tuned in, this is an a podcast that you can interact with. Meaning, if you want to call in, there is a number, but right now we have a guest, so we don't take call-ins. But sometimes I have a number you can call in. Now, if you want to be a guest on the show like Heather, all you do is send an email to Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. And you just tell them you want to be on the show. And I do the show 14 times a week, twice a day, 7 days a week. And I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning for an hour, Pacific Standard Time. And again on at 7 o'clock at night for an hour at Pacific Standard Time. So you can pick any of those shows and Grace will line you up for it and so forth. And that way you can talk. Another way you interact is people would come in and call. There's somebody that said, "Hi, Heather." That was Denceris Lafita Erickson. The people that text messages besides your name, I'd love to see what city and state you're from so I get a general consensus, because we have people from all the United States on this show. And then we also have had Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, Ghana, and Mexico City. So people are having trouble everywhere with CPS. And it's a scary thing because you're going to find CPS not to be trusted. They're very deceitful. They're not transparent. They're going to keep your children. They say all children in imminent danger. All cases are the same. So you're going to be really, if you're not now, you're going to be really shocked because you thought you'd get a fair chance of getting your kids back. And the only reason why they're doing this is all for money. They're trying to make money off your kids. They want to put them into foster care and keep them in foster care till they're 18. That way they collect money. And it's $1 billion business. And I know firsthand because I had a case with CPS. And in my case, it was in Southern California where my CPS case was. And the office of the CPS, the main office, administration office, was a Taj Mahal of a building. It looked like the Emerald City of the Wizard of Oz. And the director was just very, very, lot of gold around his neck. I thought he'd fall over from so much gold. But it went in one ear, went out the other when I tried to complain or do anything, because at first I tried to fight the case on my own, but that was a mistake. That was a bad, bad mistake. In fact, that leads me into my first rule. You need to have an attorney. Now, I will equate that to if you have something wrong with your heart and you have to have open heart surgery, are you going to fix your heart? Or are you going to let a layperson fix your heart or somebody who's not a doctor? No, you're going to get a professional doctor that's gone to school, that has done an internship and then has mentored another doctor as a full-fledged doctor. Same thing goes true for a lawyer. You're in what's called dependency court. That's the court that decides the future of your child. And it's very important you have somebody that knows the twists and turns of CPS, because it's a spaghetti nightmare place. I mean, it's like Alice in Wonderland. You fall in the rabbit hole and there's so many doors and so many places you're not knowing what to do. So I'm telling you that you need an attorney, and we have one. His name is Mr. Davis. He's a professional family law attorney. He has fought CPS and got cases back. He's also sued CPS, so he can do that too. So he's a real tiger. He is offering a consultation of $49.99 for 30 minutes of his time to strategize with you about how to get your kids back and how to fight CPS. So you need to call in, and the number to call in is 888-888-6582. And when you call in, just tell them that Bob Pace sent you, and schedule a time with Mr. Davis. Also, when you talk to Mr. Davis, tell him that you said that Bob Pace sent you. So that's really, really important there. And so I've talked about how they interact with it and give you my first rule here. And I like to hear about Heather's experience. She's from Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, and she's new. She's the first time on here, and I'm pretty sure that she got. Hi, Danielle. I saw you on earlier. I'm glad you're here. Danielle's been on the show. She's from Atworth, Georgia. She's in Atworth, Georgia. And there's also Desron Larita Erickson is from Lincoln, Nebraska. Is there anything relationship, Heather, to him?
She is my friend. She's my friend.
Oh, great. I'm glad she's there to support you. So anyway, oh, Danielle, it's bad. Oh, God, I hate to hear it so bad. Oh, God, she was on my show not too long ago, and it's so bad. It's unbelievable. I've had so many beautiful people, and I know you're fighting all the time here. But let me hear what you have to say. Start from the beginning and how it got started and your children and your family structure and what is the imminent danger they took your child away from you?
This all has been going on. The culmination of what happened to my kids started when I was a child. I'm a survivor, continuing survivor of trafficking and satanic ritual abuse.
Wow.
I have not had the easiest life. But after my daughter was born, which was in 2016, in 2018, I saw signs that she possibly had been hurt. Obviously, I grew up with incest, molested, sold to prominent people here in Nebraska. So it was my worst fear that was going to happen to my children by the hands of those that raised me, who were not my birth parents. I sought some advice from whom I thought was a family friend at the time. She agreed that she felt something had happened and to speak about it, turn it in, get an eval, etc. So I did. There was a lot of other things going on at the time. Due to who I am, who raised me, their prominence within the government, FBI, and military police, because that's their associations, they tried to start taking my children right away. They said I was delusional.
When you were growing up, were you a foster child yourself?
No, I didn't know these people weren't even my birth parents till later in life. But
you were adopted then.
I'm not sure of that either. I've located my identity. My birth certificate doesn't have a signature. Again, I'm a trafficking survivor, so I'm not typical of everybody else. I'm deep in this. So it's hard because sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. But they did not take my children at first. They kept, I tried to report things, try to get help. I could tell my daughter, as she got older, a year or two older, she was reporting that she was getting hurt verbally. She wasn't just 2 at this time. Now she's 4.
Well, before they took them, what was the allegations?
That I was delusional.
And I mean, what led them into even investigating you? Was there a complaint filed? Or called in?
It was when I was trying to take my daughter to find help for being sexually abused. Mind you, I'm a year away from my bachelor's in nursing. When I saw her injuries and what she said at 4, and at 2, I knew what I was dealing with.
Well, wait, but, your daughter, didn't you have your daughter at birth?
I say that again?
Didn't you have your daughter at birth?
Yes, I had her, but at 2, and then again at 4, she was continually being hurt by her family and mine, and no one would help me
Oh, did that hurt?
because
Did
of
that
me
happen
being a
early?
trafficking survivor, satanic ritual abuse survivor by the hands of government affiliates. I have been invalidated. They tried to make me look delusional.
Oh,
The
no.
last time she was hurt so severe, I took her to the hospital. I knew the consequences, but I felt she needed medical attention. They took her and my son, who's autistic, and at that time was a day before his 18th birthday. He also had leukemia for 4.5 years, so he's very special needs. They took them that time, the last time I tried to get help because her injuries were that severe. They took them from the hospital, said that she had no injuries, and again I was delusional. It hurt. The day after they took my children, I was sodomized so severely by the people that did that to them. I was in UNMC in Omaha for 5 days. I was poisoned and sodomized. Again, nothing happened.
Did you when you had your daughter, was the biological father involved or not?
No, he was the one who. She was at his home when all this happened, and he is affiliated with my family.
But did you guys have a relationship, or how did it happen that you had a child?
When I found out I was pregnant was literally the day we quit seeing each other. He was in my life, but I was pregnant alone, basically. I didn't know he had ties to my family in that manner or the criminal organization underneath all this. I was oblivious. Most of my life, I didn't really understand what was going on in the complexity of my situation in regards to everything until recently. But it took me, it was a 2-year progress. I'm still fighting for my son, who's now 20. I can't even talk to him on the phone.
Isn't he adult at 18?
Yeah, he has autism, and again, he had leukemia. Adult Protective Services, I've tried to make reports and find help. They turned it around and made a case against myself.
Wow.
I have that documents. I'd like to say before it goes too more like the case for my daughter was 2 years long. I passed every drug test, every mental health eval. They even put me in the regional center for 11 days for competency testing. I did everything required of me. They still, for a whole year, I couldn't even see my daughter. I didn't get to see her one time. They said I was too delusional to even have visits for a whole year.
And how old was your daughter then?
4. I saw her for the first 2.5 months after she was took, and then for the next year, nothing. The more I tried to expose the truth about what was going on in my upbringing and who trafficked me, every time I would bring up Satanic Panic from Omaha, Nebraska, Larry King, Ted Gunderson from the FBI, because that's what I deal with. That is my life. Most people are scared to speak of it because they're dead or incarcerated or, but I feel I continue to speak because it's my children. And, but that is what this is all about at the end of the day. This before Epstein, you see there was Lawrence King in Omaha.
Right.
And CPS hides this greatly. But they tried to adopt my daughter out. They put her with family where she was hit in their care, transferred around. She was more abused in the system. It's hurtful.
Was that the same father that was the father of your son, or is it two different
No,
fathers?
too different.
Okay,
Too different.
so when you had a relationship and you had your son, how old was your son when you had your daughter?
He was 13.
So you met someone and you had another child, and when your daughter, why was your daughter taken away from you? Was it taken away at birth, or did you have a couple
No,
years with your daughter?
at 4. When
Okay.
they started to satanic ritually abuse her, as they did me, and I couldn't find help, and I would
I don't
speak
know what
about it, they
botanical.
took her.
What is satanical abuse? I have no idea what that is.
It's a lot of sodomy, a lot of mind games, a lot of just extreme abuse. I practically raised myself. The family who I thought was mine, they lied to me about their identities a lot. I was put in situations that were made to purposely hurt me. I was raised in a church that was a front for a Luciferian cult, per se. It's a lot of things to do with hurting your psyche, to hurt your mind.
So you're involved in a cult, really?
Well, not by choice. I was born into it.
No, okay.
Or whoever has me. Yeah.
Did you try to reach out for help to other church groups, other support?
My whole life. I'm still fighting at 43, but how this ended was I kept going. They couldn't find anything I'm doing wrong. I had 3 attorneys quit on me every time I tried to show evidence or documents to the judge about the reality of this case. They would quit. I had 3 quit on me.
Were they public defenders or were they paid?
Yes, I couldn't afford a paid attorney. It was public defenders.
Yeah.
And it hurt my case a lot. At the end, they ended up doing a bridge order. She was hurt in her grandma's care. She was hit. They took her from her grandma, put her with her father, mind you, where this all started, where the allegations all started. They gave us a bridge order. Well, he had 51% custody. I had 49. And within 2 weeks of that order being entered and the CPS case closing, she was sexually hurt again in his care. Wow. He abandoned her to me. I've had her ever since. I have tried to file for full custody having her. I've got responses back from the state of Nebraska asking to dismiss them. I have those responses. He won't get the papers to be served. He's whatever, not getting the papers. They said they're serving him and he's not responding. I didn't report that one, obviously. They keep taking them. I asked him why she was saying this and drawing these pictures, and I didn't want to push her into speaking more because look at what all we've been through.
Yes.
But I knew something happened, and I didn't want to pry, and I didn't. But I asked him, and instead of anything, he didn't deny it. He just dropped her off, no things, and literally was gone. Wow. The police do know about this. I've had to make a report on something else. They do know. Again, during this case, what I was trying to show them was the family. I have FBI and military police. Like, I have all the papers here that the CPS workers were fake. I have documents that they have that I have found. This is all their computer documents. I have the fake CPS workers, emails, how I was not incompetent, how I was trafficked, who their real identities are. There's pedophilia here from their computers, child porn I tried to turn in, and they tried to take my children for the first time that day. I have pictures of them trying to do it. I have it time and date stamped to when the police came and when I called them to report my children, myself, and others were being trafficked out of whom I knew was my stepdad's computer. These are all his files I found relating to government programs hurting me, emails to the Fusion Center about me, fake CPS workers, who they really are. I have all this to prove my innocence, that I'm very much trafficked, that I'm very much hurt, that everything I say is valid, but I can't find help.
Filing a complaint with a district attorney?
I'm working on that. I'm working on a tort claim as we speak. This took $150 to print out. I have 6 more drives. Right. I have 43 years worth of stuff, so I'm working on it. I am not the most well off. They've taken a lot from me to try and keep me down, so I can't do this. But I am absolutely working on it, and I've done it before and it didn't go through, but that's before I had all this. So I'm absolutely doing it again. That's why I saw your show, and I know most people's aren't this deep. I understand that, but this is how bad it is. This is how bad it is.
It is really bad. I mean, I listen to so many cases now across the country from so many places. It's horrific. I mean, they don't even follow your constitutional or your civil rights. They violate that. They
Right.
violate the 14th Amendment, the Fourth Amendment. You know,
Everything. It's crimes against humanity. It is all, it's all about money at the end of the day. It's all about money. And I can show that in these files too. There's a file my stepdad has just called CPS, and everything pertaining to
well,
what they've done to my children.
did your dad work for CPS?
It was my stepdad, and he's an FBI informant.
So he did work for CPS. He's an informant.
That's correct. He worked one of the biggest cases in U.S. history, and he has. This is why it's been able to hurt me in this manner. There's immunity here, which shouldn't ever be to hurt people in this manner.
No, I agree.
And this is my life, and that's why
it's okay. I feel for
all
you.
the people that have been silenced and their children taken, and even if it's not this deep, I understand.
It is deep. It is very deep.
And
For all you people listening out there, I am feeling so terrible for you guys because I lost a daughter because of CPS. I lost a home because of CPS. In fact, my family is still messed up. And even though we have the kids back, it's been 14 years and there's not a moment goes by that I can't believe what they did. I mean, their definition, imminent danger, is so stupid. I mean, we do need CPS for the protection. There are bad cases out there. There's horror stories of CPS, but they've got out of hand. They've swung the pendulum the other way. They finally
yeah,
found out what money is, and they love money.
right.
My social worker was young. She wasn't married. She didn't have a college degree. She didn't take any classes in social work. And all she talked about was her bonus so that she could get her Gucci purse, her eyelashes, her makeup, her clothes, her BMW car. That's all she talked about. She wasn't interested in family reunification. In fact, I don't think the CPS workers ever know what that is. You
Right.
see, people can have mistakes in life raising their children. We're not born with a manual of how to raise kids or how to live life. It's all by trial and error and by seeing friends and family members that we learn how to take care of kids and what your mom did. And you had a very terrible life growing up as a child. And so you don't really have all the nice things you would know about. And so people have taken advantage of you and they still are taking advantage of you. And that's wrong.
I'm taking a big risk by even talking about this, obviously, regardless of how many views or this or that, but they're still keeping me from my son. And although he's 20, Adult Protective Services, which is related to CPS, is not helping. And he has rights as a disabled person. They're keeping him from talking to me. He needs help, in my opinion. He is still in danger. I wouldn't be doing this if he wasn't.
Is he able to express that he wants you back as his mother?
No, I'm not. They won't barely let me talk to him at all. Right now, there's no communication. When there was, he has to talk to me on speaker in front of his dad. They've literally withheld him from my life since this. But again, with his autism, and there's files in here how he was hurt too. We were all being trafficked in illegal surveillance. I'm still being trafficked online through illegal surveillance. I can prove that, but nonetheless, I feel, with him not being able to talk and the extent of how I know things were, there's a lot I can't really get into. I obviously would like my son in some type of group home or something with children his age or young adults, and he can have home visits, or he'd be able to call both parents free will You know, he's a sweet soul. 4.5 years of leukemia. I'm the only one that was there. He was nonverbal till 4. I'm the only one that was there. Taught him sign language. The whole time my daughter's going through this, and I'm still going through this, and I'm trying to protect him. I'm the only one that was ever there till he was 18. The day before he was 18, they took him. That's when they stepped in. They're taking his disability check literally. Like I'm still supporting him. I'm still sending him money. I'm still buying him what he needs, even when we don't speak. He has his own to take. You know, there's a lot going on, and I'm at a standstill because until I get this tort claim in, and probably handle things in a civil court of law, when people are immune in this manner, I don't get help like the average citizen might through law enforcement. I got a protection order against my son's dad, and I was awarded full custody in that when he was 18, when all this had happened, and I went through a court in a different county. I couldn't get the sheriff here in Lincoln to serve that. I couldn't find help to enforce that.
Really? Why is that?
That's accurate. Well, there's some sheriffs mentioned in these files of Mr. Wagner. I'm not sure. I have to ask my stepdad how they're together, but nonetheless, I do have those. So there's a lot of deception. There's a lot of deception in this town.
Let's not talk any names. So we just
Yeah.
any names there, okay? But you know those the documents you have and the stories you have to tell. I'm pretty sure a district attorney would love to hear that. Or how about
they're well aware of me.
what about a
Yeah,
Congress? How about a congressman or woman or representative, someone in Congress?
and that's correct. When I drop my tort claim on, that is what I'm doing. I'm bringing, even though they're ridiculously large amounts of documents here, I'm dropping them off not only there, but like you said, senators, congressmen, internal affairs. You know, I'm going to go throughout the community to top people, and I want to know that my story's heard, because I know that people are aware. I'm just going to put it like that. But I agree with you that I need to spread knowledge in that manner, and that's my full intent to do next. It takes a lot of money to do this, and that's been a hang up for me.
Let me take one pause there. I'll be right back with you, Heather. But I want to talk about the people that have written in comments here. Danielle has been saying some things, and she agrees what you're saying. And in her case, it's money. It's still involved in her case.
Mm-hmm.
When they start putting pressure on me, I push right back, and that's what you should do. They will not keep messing with America's children. I agree, Daniel. This gentleman here just wrote his name is the word around the bench. I don't know what city or state he's from, but I'm currently going through the ringer here. Oh, he's from Oklahoma. As we've done everything they have asked, but they're still putting us through it due to the child trafficking. Yes, I agree with you. Word around the ranch, you know, it is a hard thing. Danielle says her son is 18, so now he's adult. But if he has ADH or some other disability, adult services will intervene, and they're tied into CPS too.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be from our nose. And see what Georgia had. I don't know if you read in the news, but the Atlanta News said they were shipping children from Georgia to Texas because they couldn't take care of them there in Georgia, which is hard to believe because I think Georgia is a wealthy state. I did not know that they could not do that. So she said that her son was sent to Texas. See what else she said. Her son is also autistic and ADHD. I remember her talking about her son. She says CPS can't take care of him because there's too much trouble. See, when they're ADHD or autistic, it takes a lot of work and a special mother to take care of that child, or a special father. Yeah, they took him when he was 17. Wow. It says law enforcement isn't involved in mine. My son is in a different state. Okay. See. See what she's got. She says deceitful and spiteful. I agree. CPS is that. Um, she's dealing with her congressman, which is good. Once they are alerted, it's going to be good news, I think. Once they are alerted. And her story is on the news too. That's another thing. Have you talked about talking to the news about your case?
No, just I'm pretty well known in this town for the abuse, honestly. And I just didn't think that would be accepted or they would even respond, really. So no, I didn't try. Just I'm pretty high pro. The people above me and who raised me are pretty powerful government people. So
Wow.
I'm quite silenced in that manner.
That's so weird about people. I think that is wrong. I think that's wrong.
I want to advocate on top of CPS, but also that they're, like informants, etc. There should be no immunity for trafficking, attempted murder, rape. I just don't think immunity. If you want to get paid for helping, or that's your job, or but the whole immunity thing, I don't quite understand. So.
Yeah, it's sad because money's behind the root of all this, and they pay people off.
That's right.
A lot of
and they're paying people with money they're getting from still trafficking me illegally to this day.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that they get. I've heard anything over $20,000 per child per month. That's a lot of money for one child. And if you have a child of 5, that's $100. I mean, excuse me, that is $100,000.
Right.
And that is a lot of money. And you multiply it times the number of children you got into into foster care. That can be really, really bad there. Now, you say your son is 19 and your daughter is 14, right?
No, my son's 20. My daughter's 7 now.
Well, your daughter's 7 and your son's 20. And who has your daughter at the moment?
I do. I don't have legal custody of her. He's avoiding the paperwork. But again, after the bridge order was entered in his favor, even though this stems off from him, like I said, she was hurt and he abandoned her 2 weeks later without discussing what happened. Just that's how that was. I've been in the court since, and I've had responses from the state of Nebraska I don't get because it's a custody case, and I was just trying to amend the bridge order pro se. I'm at a standstill. Number one, he won't accept being served. I've tried twice, dodging that. Number two, I don't quite understand why the state's trying to get involved in this or sending me what they are. And again, like before, I am either pro se or using legal aid, which I am applied for. But they tend not to help, but I'm waiting to talk to somebody.
You cannot serve papers if you're in the case. It has to be someone not involved in the case to serve papers.
Yeah, it was the sheriff. They couldn't serve him. They've tried twice.
Who they? Who's they?
The sheriff.
The sheriff cannot serve papers on the guy?
I've tried several times when I go to the courthouse to set up the hearing date, because I waited the 30 days and I submitted my parenting classes, and he said he wasn't going to do it. And I had text from him saying, yeah, I was served when I get up there to set up the hearing date. And they said they made 2 attempts. He is not being served. He's not accepting the papers. I'm at a standstill with that. And again, like I don't have the resources for a attorney right now. I've been doing this pro se, and I've been doing my best, but this is where we're at. I'm content that I have her in my care. I know she's safe, well cared for, but I do need to get this taken care of,
Well, yeah, because if someone caught you sometime, a policeman or something, they need to see the paperwork.
Mm.
Or they'll take
I
you.
have actually the police here. They do know of the situation due to something else. An officer, obviously, they all quite know me well. This is, when I was growing up, these are the people in this ring. I won't say no more, but they're aware of me. And I told this officer the truth, why I had her and what happened, and I didn't want to press her into talking more, and it was what it is. And this is how the case started, and that's how it ended. But he just acknowledged I was doing well, and I had her, and so the officers here do know what happened and what's went on, but they did nothing about it.
Wow.
In the meantime, I'm still fighting on my own.
Okay, we have another comment from one of the people listening in. This person's from Oklahoma, and they're saying that he's called word around the bench. He says his lawyer is a former prosecutor for CPS and isn't very helpful and will not return our calls. Well, if you hired this attorney, he better make returning calls or you need to fire him. Yesterday, our worker and her supervisor came out to our home and we mentioned our lawyer's situation. Well, here's the problem that a lot of people are forgetting. You do not have to let people in your home. That's one of your constitutional right. Your home is your castle. When you let them in your home, they're going to use what they see in the home against you. You do not need to talk to a social worker. It's yes, no kind of answers. And if they do want more detail, you just tell them that, hey, my attorney will get back to you. Or if you don't have an attorney, they don't know that, but you can get one. But what people, it's my rule number 3, is that you don't allow anybody in your home or anybody to take your children unless they have a court warrant. It has to be a documentation signed by a judge that gives them the right to take your child because of some extreme necessity or circumstances that the child needs to be taken from you. But it's got to be executed by a warrant. It's got to be signed by a judge. It's got the date and time and the person that's involved and what the allegations are. So too many people are letting case workers come to the home, which is wrong because they'll use everything against you. So word around the bench there, you don't let social workers talk to you. Let your attorney talk to them. Don't you talk to them, and don't let them in the home. Now, he says further, they proceeded, the social worker tell us that they are friends, and her and us, they will reach out to her, meaning our lawyer, and have her return our calls. Now, there is a conflict of interest around the bench. First of all, don't believe anything that social workers say. They're going to lie to you. They're going to lie to you. They are not going to tell you the truth. They're the worst kind of human beings. And around the bench says his children are in foster care. His kids are in foster care. And again, around the bench, if you want to be on the show and talk about your case, I'd love to have you. All you have to do is send an email to grace@vincentwdavis.com and ask if you want to be in one of my 12 broadcasts. And Danielle, thank you for listening in there. I agree that it's conflict of interest. Anytime, that's ridiculous. There's a lot of one said that she had a cousin that thought she was going to be nice to her, but she was in cahoots with the sheriff, and they used everything that she said against her and took her children. Children are not supposed to be toys or played with or bartered with. Children are human beings. Mothers and fathers are human beings, and they need a mother and a father. And sadly, there's not enough fathers that want to take the responsibility to help out the mother raise the child. It seems like they all want to just leave the mother alone and let her suffer with it. But kids need a mother and father. There's no question about that. And studies have shown that the best parents for children are the biological parents, the biological. But a lot of the fathers are incarcerated or in drugs. Mothers are in drugs. I've heard equal number of stories from mothers and from fathers of how the other parent is not part of it and so forth there. So what I want everybody to understand out there is that you cannot talk to social workers. It's just wasteless. What you do is say very little, do what they ask, smile, and keep pursuing for them. Keep pursuing for them. But talking to them or thinking they're going to make promises they'll never keep. Is that your case too, Heather, when they made promises to you?
All the time.
See, they make promises to relieve the stress or the anguish of the mother, which I think is wrong. They're toying with you. I mean, you are a mother. You have a life to live. And here you are expressing interest for your son or your daughter. I think all parents, if they're on this show or call in or something like that, they're interested in their kids. And they should be afforded that. CPS should be encouraged that. CPS should stay out of it. They should help the parent, not hurt the parent, not go after the money for the child. It's really corrupt. CPS is really, 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 really corrupt. So you don't think you ever get to see your son again? You think it's gone now completely?
No, I know I will. That's why I'm talking. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Okay.
I've had faith my whole life things would work out the way they should. That's why I've never gave up.
Good.
But part
Good to
of
hear that.
part of that happening though was speaking out, so I can bring awareness to the situation and try to get the help I need for him and the advocacy I need and the word out there of what's going on. So maybe if something I can't do myself, a collective can do together. I'm trying anything I can. It's not an easy position to be in, but I'll never give up. I didn't agree with them making him like talk on speaker right in front of me. He could never even tell me. I just want to know, how was your day? I love you. I miss you. Little quirks, I. We grew we had such a close bond, especially from the 4.5 years of cancer, and I never left his room in the hospital. He was a late responder. We were in the hospital almost the whole time. We were very close. And yeah, I'll never give up. I just want him to have the free will to call him who he wants. I know he wants to call me. Before they were took, I had a conversation with him because they tried to take them several times before they actually did. And I told him, if anything ever happened, I love you. I'm never not talking to you because I don't want to. And he said, Mommy, the same.
Yeah.
So that's why I still talk, and that's why I still fight.
Well, I'm glad you are. I mean, you're a remarkable woman. As you talk and how you describe your child and everything, you seem very level-headed. You seem very knowledgeable. You're very caring. You're not yelling. You're not, fidgeting. I mean, you have a good, and for someone to sit there and say something wrong with you, there's something wrong with the workers, not with you.
It's a lot of projection out there.
I know, but it's like you say the right answers and you sound very intelligent. And so,
I knew a year into the case after testing and seeing who they wanted, and I still wasn't even seeing my daughter at all. Even on top of what I already knew what was going on, I knew there was more to it, like money, like you said. I started looking into it, or, that I just knew there was more into it than even I understood for them to be keeping her so long, and I wasn't, but It's everything's a lot about money, and it's just really unfortunate, and it's heartbreaking, and I just really hope things change for everybody.
Yeah, I hope so too. But I've been at this for 14 years, and I don't think I'm making any inroads. All I'm doing is sharing what I know worked for me. It may not work for you, but tell people all the knowledge that I have, and if they want some more legal knowledge, to call my attorney. And so it's really remarkable that you're able to keep a level head. A lot of people that have gone through what you gone through would have lost it.
I'm told that a lot.
Yeah, I understand that. And you have
I keep my faith. I'm very into my faith.
you have a cute smile and so forth. So that's really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Around the Bench says they've already have her children in foster care. Well, you can get your children back unless the case is closed. And of course, Daniel says her child's in foster care too. So, yeah, I know about that. I'm just reading some of the stories that people are saying out there. As you look back, is there anything you could have done differently?
Honestly, I feel I did not disobey anything they asked me to do. The only thing I could have done differently to, like, I know it would have helped me get her back in a different way, or this or that. They wanted me to be quiet. They put me in the regional center even. They wanted me to be quiet. I know if I was quiet and didn't tell the truth, I know that I could have probably got her, her return much quicker. But for my son and other reasons, I didn't feel I could be quiet. That wasn't right in my heart. So I've
Yeah.
continued to speak.
Yeah. Now, um, is your son planning to go to college, or can he be at college?
He is awaiting double hip replacements because he has avascular necrosis from the chemo. So he is fully
Wow.
disabled right now. He's been working on losing weight. He is about 30 pounds away from being able to he's lost about 60 pounds the past year and a half. He's doing well, great attitude. But, he's dealing with a lot and still being not able to talk to me. And I'm sure it's not the only problem, knowing what's going on. But yeah, so he is disabled to the point I feel I need to advocate for him. Yeah.
I see. Well,
Like
because of
he's not
disability.
able to just pick up a phone, or he's to the point, he would need help to call the number, or no, or he also has quite a bit of brain function loss from the chemo also. He was a late responder, so he got more than most people. So it's it's a sensitive subject all around with him.
Now, did you try to talk to the supervisors in CPS or the upper management?
Absolutely.
And what
Got
was their
nowhere. I
response?
filed complaints. They started to ignore my complaints. I have all my files too, not just these, but I have my own documents of all the emails sent, and the responses of the people, and the complaints I filed. One complaint you were supposed to hear back, I want to say, it was within so many days. I want to say 21 days, but it took 3 months before I got a response as to why they took my visits away. In the meantime, my first attorney quit the day after they did that. She quit on me. So, but I went through supervisors. I went through grievances. I tried what I could.
Have you gone to the state, at the top of the state, the one that's responsible at the state for all these agencies?
I've made a complaint with the ombudsman.
No, they're in cahoots.
No.
Yeah, you don't want to do them.
Okay. Well, I did do that a couple years ago.
Yeah, they're kind
But
of wasted time
they
with
didn't
that.
do anything.
You're
But
right. You're right. You're right. They do not do anything.
right. I found absolutely no assistance. I've done a lot of research. I'm not the most educated, but I'm pretty intellectual, book smart. I research online, try to find things. The best idea I could come up with was what I'm doing, the tort claim, and bring it to the Congress, senators, the head of this and that, along when I file it with the attorney's office. But I cannot. I've literally exhausted everything here. And I'm so grateful. I have my daughter in my care. I'm grateful she's healthy, she's safe, she's healing. We're both trying to heal, but a big part of us healing is to have my son healing with us. We need to make sure he's okay too. So, and Adult Protective Services, as you said, is related to CPS, and I'm not getting help through them. They tried to switch the investigation back upon me.
Wow. Um, have you tried to go to the public defender's office, the main office, to get replacements with public defenders?
When my case was, I don't have one right now, but when my case was ongoing, they literally quitting on me left and right before I could ask for replacements. Every time I tried to show something in court and they didn't like it, I was left alone.
Wow.
3 times. And
Wow.
one intermittent attorney, so it's actually 4.
Yeah, I tell those people out here listening that public defenders are not going to, there's 3 things they talk about: ombud persons, public defenders, and CASA, the court appointed. Oh boy,
Mm-hmm.
court appointed service associates. It's someone that's supposed to be like an ombuds person, but
Right.
they're supposed to help. The children are pointed to them, and adults, the parents are, but all they are is they tell everything to CPS. See, that's the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. You can't trust anybody that
Right.
provide you. Even the judge was corrupt. My judge
Mm-hmm.
knew all about car repair work and claims against property damage, but he knew nothing about children or family court or all the things that are going through. He knew nothing about that. He's a worthless judge, and that was sad. That was sad to find
Mm-hmm.
that out because I thought for sure the judge would be okay. I did not know they're in cahoots,
Mm-hmm.
and well, that was really sad. Oh, before I forget, y'all, I gave you rule number 1, which is to get an attorney, and rule number 3, which is to say no to social worker police, don't live in your house. Rule number 2, and that is a real important one, and it looks like you have a lot of paperwork, but if you get a notebook and you write down the incident, the date and time, the people involved, the children, the social workers, the police, and then what the incident was. You write down what the incident was, and then you write the outcome. Then skip a couple lines, do the same thing. I tell people to do that because I didn't do that. It's important you take notes
Mm-hmm.
because you'll see as it goes that's really going to be hard. It's really going to be really, really hard. So, hi, Faye. She's from Richmond, Kentucky, and she's on the show tonight too. So welcome her back. Yep, Casa is corrupt too. I agree, Faye. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just, it's sad because they talk about how they can help you or get cause you make complaints, but the people who want to make complaints are corrupt. I mean, I went to the top dog. I went to the director, and I tried to sit with him, explain what the problems were, and I'd write all kinds of stuff, but they don't want to hear it. They don't want troublemakers. They do not want. They'll turn you off and make your life miserable. They'll come up with things you shouldn't have to do, but they'll make you do it, which is really, really, really hard. I don't know if your social workers very hard on you, were they?
Me, yes.
Like, did they abuse you?
They I just couldn't do enough. I always said I feel like if I was, God, I wouldn't be enough. I
They
did
they
everything
verbal abuse you. They make you feel worthless.
right. I would do everything they asked and took every drug test and went to every appointment and every psych eval and parenting. And I moved out of town for safety reasons during this. So to see my daughter, when I did have visits, I drove 4 hours a day to see her 3 times a week.
Wow.
What did sound like it? And I did that for 2 years, except for
Wow.
the one year I couldn't see her. But I drove 3 days a week, 4 hours a day, plus her visit. Would go back on top of that, even though I was on disability for PTSD from all the trauma I've survived.
Wow.
I got a part-time job to try because they wanted me to work and show them I was capable of taking care of her. So, on top of driving and doing that, I would get back to Norfolk and work till 1, 2 in the morning after doing all that to show them that I'm capable, but I'm still trying to heal from a lifetime of what I've been through. Was
Yeah.
watching my kids and everything, but it was never enough. It was never enough. I got my own place. I moved here. I did that. I mean, I always had my own place, but I moved and restarted. And, just I tried to show every which way that I was more than enough,
Yeah.
got out all my old records and how I was valedictorian in college and have my degree and I'm not incompetent, and literally never got one word of encouragement that wasn't false.
Okay.
And I just, yeah, it was, I felt abused in that way that I was never validated besides going above and beyond.
Okay. Danielle's leaving. She says she's got to go, and have a wonderful night. And don't give up. I agree with you, Danielle. Thank you for being on
Thank
the show
you.
tonight. And good luck, Danielle. And I'll talk again to you tomorrow there. We have about 4 minutes left of the show. What important thing would you want the audience to know from your case that would help them?
That's a hard question because I've faced so much adversity.
Yeah. Well,
The
I think,
only thing I can give them is personal advice. I truly feel that what's done in the dark comes to light eventually. I truly feel that honesty is the best policy, um, for your children's sake. It's
yeah.
I just feel don't give up if you're doing what's right, which is what I feel I've done. And there's nothing to hide. Just keep telling the truth and doing right. And like I have my daughter here now. Even though I'm still working on custody, and things are going the right way. I'm still working on my son, but I'm not giving up. And I guess that's the best advice I can give is don't give up. Don't let them just take. I'll fight forever. You won't just take my children, but just don't give up.
Yeah, I think those are really good words is don't give up. At times I wanted to give up too because it's the most miserable experience that you
And
have to
I've met
go through.
people that have, and it broke my heart. They got to a place where they were like, I don't know how you can do it. And like I would go to therapy, it wouldn't be enough, or they'd still say, like, I met a gal on my journey that actually quit because like I felt nothing was ever good enough, and they were threatening to take her other children, and it's heartbreaking because she was very much worthy of her children, but she gave up, and that's her decision. But I don't wish that for anybody.
Well, no, it's
It's hard. It's a 22, when they're threatening with your other children and there's other, fathers involved in her case and stuff. It was a hard decision for her. I understand, but no one should have to be put in that position to begin with.
I agree. I agree. It's a hard thing to be against her. It was hard when I lost my daughter. It was so sad that CPS told my daughter, divorce your parents, seal your birth certificate, and get a new name. And she did that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad CPS is. They
Mm-hmm.
brainwash the kids. They do
Right.
alienation, which is against the law. They
Right.
do child trafficking, which is against the law.
Right.
They take children that they say are always in imminent danger. I mean, it's like their SOP is that they hear an allegation, they think it's true, so they're going to say it's true until they're proven you innocent. Then they're going to try to take your children and keep them in with foster care so they get all that money to the age of 18. It's really terrible what they do.
Mhm.
Well, I want to thank you, Heather, for taking your
Yeah.
time, for relaxing a little bit and talking about it's a hard thing. And I know I
Yeah.
feel for it. I mean, God bless your daughter and your son. I think you will get your son back. I think there will be time that it will happen. It just takes time. But I hope
Mhm.
you'll think about being on my show again the next time because you are very calm and you really described your case quite well. And I want to thank you.
Thank
Um,
you for having me. This is
yeah.
my first time talking
Well, I hope
about this ever publicly, so thank you for having me.
yeah, I hope the next time you maybe do this again. I want to thank Faye for coming on and Danielle, who's already left tonight. The word around the bench, the guy from Oklahoma, I think it is. Um, you said some really great words. I appreciate you being on the show here. And who else did I leave out? I think I got everybody that texted in a comment tonight. And so, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to close up. God bless you all. And this is Bob Pace. Don't forget to keep fighting for your kids. Signing off. I'll see you tomorrow.